from KBRN at the Capital Brand District. You're watching a Drug Cool 1 News special covering the annual Chernobyl Remembrance Day.
My fellow Draculians, micronational community, citizens of Ukraine, and those of the former Soviet Union. Today, as many know, marks the 37th anniversary of the Chernobyl nuclear meltdown, an incident which changed the future when it came to nuclear power, corrupt governments, and design. This incident affected not only the Soviet Union as a whole, but now present-day Ukraine and many surrounding countries which were affected by radiation as it was dispersed around within the wind. Many children were later diagnosed with thyroid cancer, along with deformities which changed families for decades to come. These incidents show us why it's important to hold governments accountable, especially when their nature is already corrupted, such as communist countries like the USSR. Government cover-ups and hiding the truth, especially in this situation, only led to more lives affected and ultimately lost. Today, we remember the first responders, the plant workers, the soldiers, the liquidators, and the innocent civilians who perished during Chernobyl's nuclear meltdown on April 26, 1986. Our thoughts and prayers are with those all affected, both living and the deceased. This evening, in memory of Chernobyl and all its victims, we rewind history to watch all that unfolded on that fateful day. Thank you for your participation in tonight's programming, and we hope this is well received by many, especially for those unfamiliar with the incident. Good night.
Good evening. There has been a nuclear accident in the Soviet Union, and the Soviets have admitted that it happened. The Soviet version is this. One of the atomic reactors at the Chernobyl atomic power plant near the city of Kiev was damaged, and there is speculation in Moscow that people were injured and may have died. The Soviets may have been fairly quick to acknowledge the accident because evidence in the form of mild nuclear radiation had already reached beyond the Soviet borders to Scandinavia. We begin with ABC's Dean Reynolds.
The first word that something was seriously wrong came from this power plant in eastern Sweden, where workers coming on the job registered abnormally high levels of radiation on their bodies. Although the levels were not high enough to harm humans and no accident had occurred at that plant, it was shut down. And as tests were conducted, similar puzzling reports of high radiation came in from all over Scandinavia. But still, no accidents were reported, leading to the conclusion that the problem was elsewhere, to the east, in the Soviet Union, a fact confirmed to the Soviet people on television tonight.
От Совета Министров СССР.
An official announcement from the Council of Ministers. There has been an accident at the Chernobyl atomic power station. One of the atomic reactors was damaged. The consequences of the accident are being taken care of. Help is being given to the victims of the accident. A government commission has been set up.
The civilian plant in question is in the Ukraine. It's something of a showcase facility, featured here in Soviet Life magazine, which extolled its safety record. It's near the city of Kiev, population 2.5 million, and about 1,000 miles from Scandinavia, meaning that whatever did occur there, a radioactive cloud headed north across Poland today and into Denmark, where radiation levels were 5 times normal, to Finland, 6 times normal, to Norway, up 50%, and Sweden, illegally high.
It's almost certainly the most severe accident that has ever taken place in the short history of civilian nuclear power.
That means it is far worse than the 3 Mile Island incident of 1979. Experts tonight say the cloud of radiation is now dissipating over the North Atlantic and poses no further threat to anyone. But as the Soviets treat an unknown number of casualties, there's no way to say how much lasting damage that cloud may have already caused. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, London.
Ukrainian authorities tried to hide the disaster, which had by that time claimed only 2 lives, when one employee was killed instantly and another died in hospital several hours later. Firefighters who rushed in to put out the blaze weren't properly equipped and suffered radiation poisoning. Attempts were made to cool the reactor by dropping 4,000 tons of lead and sandbags onto the site. "48,000 people living in Pripyat were also victims of the ineptitude and secrecy of the authorities. The town was only 3 kilometers away from Chernobyl. Evacuation from Pripyat began a full day and a half after the explosion. Investigations into the accident at Chernobyl revealed both procedural and design errors at the nuclear facility.
Это Припять. Через 16 лет после основания города все 45 тысяч жителей были вынуждены покинуть его.